Before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at netsn.live.
Welcome, everyone, to the Beasts from the East show. This is episode 16, week 16 of the high school football season. I can't believe it's already here. It's your boy Brett Swinney. Alongside of me is CM Corey Marshall, KO Kyle Owens, and special guest tonight on the Beasts from the East, the professor himself, Mr. Matt Diggs. Welcome, everybody.
Your reigning and defending DFW area pick'em champion. That's what you got here. We won't talk about what's going on that app right now, but we will talk about GM Sports Media.
Well, I guess it's a good thing we have DFW schools that we're picking this week, right?
I'm happy to lend the expertise when I have it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We got Matt in here, and I want to talk about it first, Matt. I want to talk about where you're sitting here on the East Texas board. I mean,
yeah,
there's a couple of guys in this group that are ahead of you, Matt. You got down at 98. You haven't got 100.
No, don't even have a now. There have been some technical issues which have kept me getting some points. But last week I went 2-4 legit. So what can I say when you go 2 and I could have flipped a coin and probably done better last week. But that's the craziness of East Texas. Y'all had some upsets galore. I don't think you could have convinced me, no matter how many times I listened to your show, that the Gilmer team I knew that lost by 5 scores to Pleasant Grove was going to somehow turn around and beat the reigning and defending champions from Carthage. I don't get East Texas, Brett.
I didn't get that one. I did go 5-1 though, Matt. That was the only one I missed. I got the other one correct.
Yeah, Pleasant Grove should have got that win. They were better. They were a whole lot better. I don't know, the Big Red Sea. And then this past week, nope. nobody. I don't think anybody in about 4 or 5 states that do anything about Gilmer and Carthage picked Gilmer.
Actually, one person picked Gilmer last week in our pick.
It was a misclick, we think. They probably
he clicked it up. He fat fingered it. He fat fingered it. That's what happened. I'm pretty sure that happened. Nobody picked it. And then the way they lost, like, come on, man. That just, I had a gut feeling. I really did. I was sitting there thinking, I was like, you know what? Boy, if Gilmer pulls this off, it just throw the whole bracket away. Here
it is. Herschel Hawkins. Shout out to Herschel Hawkins. The one person out of all the people that picked got that one correct. Wow.
I want a picture of his hand. I want to make sure he doesn't have like a giant hand that he's, accidentally,
Well,
he's got the club hands.
The good news with the pick'em though, guys, you start over next week, and so we have a new slate here. We've got five East Texas games. We say Matt's got he's got some arguments about one. He wants to try to claim one of the teams that's on the edge. That's okay. I mean,
I'm not trying to claim it. It's literally the definition of what DFW is according to the U.S. government. So, I mean,
wow,
it's real on my Twitter page, and it's been pinned there to help you understand what the DFW area is by what we consider the definition. And
the definition, if they're a good team, we'll claim it. If they're not a good team, we won't care.
We claim Gun Barrel City and Kemp and all Eustis. It's not great football being played on that 175 corridor, but it's all DFW.
Corey, I think we got your TV kind of in the background of your mic.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Yeah. Okay.
Professor, I'm looking at your map. So Athens is considered yours as well?
Yes.
Interesting.
Athens is only 45 minutes from here.
Here's what I don't understand.
I mean, just group talent in there.
How do you? Well, you might as well, because how does it go? How do you get Athens, Henderson County, but not Van Zant County or Rains County or Hopkins County, but then you got Delta up there too? I don't understand the regions here. I don't understand it.
You talk to the U.S. government about that. I mean, this is not a political show, and I'm not going to get into
that's why
the geniuses that divide all this.
See, that's why when I own my own network, I can tell you who we cover, and I just claim whoever I want to, right? I don't have to go by any U.S. government.
I mean, I'm looking at that hat there. It says NET. That's Northeast Texas, and I don't think Malakoff is north or east, really, at the end of the day.
They are. They're in the east part of the state. There's more west than east.
Well, you could say that about Glen Rose, and are you calling them a team for the? Are we having an all East Texas State semifinal between Glen Rose and Gilmer?
Glen Rose is DFW.
Yeah.
Glen Rose is as far away from Dallas as Malakoff is. Look it up.
Really?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
probably colder actually.
We could probably argue about this all day, but let's go ahead and let's do some.
I think the listeners want to hear us argue about this because you've probably been having Malakoff as a DFW area team or as an East Texas team your whole show, your whole 15, 16 episodes, and you're wrong. You've been wrong 16 times.
I'm not wrong. If I say they're Northeast Texas, then that's what goes here, Mr. Professor.
This Wednesday, today, when we do this, so this Wednesday today, when we do this on tonight's show, we need somebody from Malakoff to come on. I don't know, we got to tag somebody or something. I want to know where you claim. Are you East Texas or you Dallas? That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
Let's get Coach Driscoll on. Just get Coach Driscoll on.
Yeah, what set you claiming? East Texas or Dallas? What we got to know?
I'll put it to you this way, Professor. So at KLTV, we only cover East Texas teams. Malakoff is a team that we cover. So they're in our DMA. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, they're in our DMA too. We got TV stations out here.
They're plural DMAs, I guess.
Maybe they can just be a hybrid then.
We got a camera out there this week.
Oh, okay. Well, we did not. So I guess y'all do better than
you'll be talking to our producer to try to get some footage of Malakoff and Brock on your East Texas station that's being filmed in DFW.
That's why we have sister stations in Dallas. Shout out.
There we go. There we go.
Gotta have a sister station. There you go.
Hey, let's talk game one. Matt, what do you know about Tidehaven? Tidehaven Dangerfield's game one.
Well, I know that Tidehaven won last week, and I know Dangerfield won last week, and I was shocked at the veracity at what Dangerfield did. I mean, I thought Newton was going to give it to Dangerfield at the end of the day, and not only did they not give it to Dangerfield, they took it from Dangerfield. Tidehaven, Region 3, Region 4 is not the strongest region in the thing. I think Dangerfield should athletically be a favorite, but what's going to be the big picture of Tidehaven, and are they going to be able to execute, or is Dangerfield going to avoid the turnovers? Because Dangerfield, this is a team I've been wrong on like 4 out of my 14 times, because they have some really bad games, but when they are clicking, they look really, really good. So what version of Dangerfield are we going to get? You tell me, Brett, because that's my problem. I don't know which version of Dangerfield I'm going to get from week to week.
They've been playing well in the playoffs. I got to see them play West Rusk, and Chase Johnson. They had Chase Johnson out early. He had a car crash early in the season, and so he was out a couple of games. The Center game and the Timpson game, he missed those games. So those were 2 losses early. So you kind of take those out, and that makes their record look a little better. Now, the Harmony game, we've talked about it a little bit. Maybe they got bored, kind of complacent, and they can do that. But they've been locked in on the playoffs. Again, I saw him play, and Johnson was throwing the ball around. He's got receivers. Of course, he's got Aaron Hampton out there. Every time he touches it, it's to the house call. I mean, he's that kind of athlete. They're just balanced. They've got a passing attack and a run attack. They got big guys. I just don't see Tidehaven staying with them. I'm going Dangerfield, and I think Dangerfield wins by several touchdowns.
Yeah, I really like Dangerfield. Ever since district started, they've been playing a lot better football. I know they had that loss to Harmony. We know how I feel about Harmony. I think that was just kind of a perfect storm scenario for Harmony. But once Dangerfield hit the playoffs, they've been rocking and rolling. I was impressed with that win over Newton. I thought that I picked Dangerfield to win, but I didn't think they would win like that. They dominated Newton, who's a really good football team. So I know nothing about Tidehaven. All I know is Harmony lost to Poth last year in the state semis, and Tidehaven beat Poth. So I'm going for Dangerfield to knock out. I don't like Region 4. So I'm taking Region 3. Give me Dangerfield. That's sound analysis, isn't it, Matt? That's sound right there.
It's absolutely something. The only real calibration that we have, if you want to try to work it around to this way, is that the fact that Tidehaven beat Rogers, I think it was, and Rogers had a game against Palmer, and I know Palmer, that's a DFW area school, though you might try to claim them as well, and they weren't very good at the end of the day, and that was actually one of their more competitive games. Otherwise, their defense has completely shut down Region 4 in some of their non-district games. Dangerfield just looks too athletic. But again, I worry. You talk about that Harmony game, you don't know what they were doing in that game. They had everybody back. That was a month ago. We're not talking like, oh, that was the first game of district. That was a month ago. That was the last game of the regular season. So that, again, concerns me that Dangerfield isn't always focused for whatever reason. And if they come into this game taking Tidehaven for granted because they're like, it's one of those schools from Region 4, we've got it athletically. We watch their huddled, and we watch their tape, and we don't see the athleticism there, and they take them lightly. Hopefully their coaching staff will get them primed up for that. But that's what I'm worried about. I look at that Harmony game, and I look how they kind of took that for granted. I'm worried. That's my worry.
I see that, and that's, and then I agree with that just a little bit. Dangerfield's they've had this the past couple of years. We've picked Dangerfield. At least I picked Dangerfield to make it right. I think last year they kind of let themselves down. I think they have it clicking at the right time. That loss to Harmony was a bad loss at the end of the year. Harmony just, like we said it before, sometimes, man, you just know how to play teams. They game planned it, and Harmony hit it at the right time. And you see Harmony win 3 rounds. So I mean, Dangerfield since the playoffs, I mean, they literally have been hurting people. I don't say hurting people physically, but I mean, they've played probably their best football as of right now. The Newton game was a surprise. I thought Newton were going to put up at least a bigger shot than they did, but they took it to Newton, and that's what you want to see from your team, especially at this point in time of the season. This is a big time. It's a big game. I'm picking Dangerfield. I think they're rolling at the right time. That game against Poth, Tidehaven, they only won by 6 points. So that's the most points they've given up all year. And Dangerfield's putting up big numbers. So let's see, is the immovable force, or was the immovable object versus the I can't remember. It's something with physics. I can't remember. Something about Hulk and something like that.
They told us there'd be no science involved, and I feel like we talk about Dangerfield. This is the 40th anniversary, Brett, of the team.
Well, it could be a good reunion there, Matt. It could be. I just think Dangerfield. I see Tidehaven 13-0. That's great and all, but I just feel like that Region 3 that they just went through is a lot tougher, and it's going to have a more battle tested. As long as they don't overlook the opponent, Tidehaven, I think that Dangerfield gets the win.
But can I give you a little bit of disrespect while we're talking about this? A little disrespect Sports Network kind of a thing here.
We're
pretty much calling in the DFW area Canadian versus Gunner. That's your state championship game.
Ooh.
Wow.
That's how we view what's going on up here. It's like we got Canadian Gunner. That's your state championship game, and whatever else, we got the consolation bracket.
I sure hope they keep talking that way, because Dangerfield may have something to say about that.
Well, that's the kind of insight you can't get anywhere else.
That's the thing about Dangerfield too. You brought up the anniversary. I'm not comparing them to the team of the 80s, but Dangerfield's playing really good defense right now too. Like that team in the 80s, that's the defense is what was the strong point for Dangerfield. And right now, obviously they're not as dominant as they were in the 80s, but they are playing really good defensively. And I'm not familiar with Tidehaven's schedule, but I'm willing to go out on a limb and say in their 13, 14 games that they've played, they haven't seen a team as athletic as Dangerfield. So even though they've been able to hold teams to bad offensive games, I don't think Dangerfield's just too athletic. Dangerfield's got too much speed on the outside. They're just too athletic. But I don't see them having a letdown or overlooking Tidehaven, because they're trying to get to Arlington. They're trying to get to Jerry's World, and I think that Dangerfield can do it this week. Go Tigers.
Tidehaven's given up 69 points this year, and 49 of those points have been in the last two games against Rogers and Pope. So that now you're starting to see that competition step up a little bit, and I think Dangerfield is even going to take it to that next level. I think that's more of a reflection of who Tidehaven hasn't played. So I agree with Dangerfield as the pick for whatever East Texas lack of knowledge I have, and I think it might not even be that close at the end of the day. I know what happened last year, and every now and then you get a Region 4 team that'll surprise you. But with Dangerfield and the athleticism they have, if they play at this level that they played the last 3 weeks, they should have no problems.
All right. Well, game 2, Matt, your so-called DFW versus DFW game. Brock and Malakoff, a rematch from last year's semifinals here. I
would just like to invite you, because we're an educational show as well. I'd like to invite you to go to the Henderson County Wikipedia page. I'm not going to read the whole thing about all of their things, but the very last sentence of the first paragraph: Henderson County comprises the Athens Micropolitan Statistical Area, which is also included in the Dallas-Fort Worth Combined Statistical Area. It's on their Wikipedia page, folks.
You can change
Wikipedia. It can be edited.
Yeah.
Well, go edit it then and see how long it stays.
This is going to be a really good matchup. Man, it's just hard for me to, I know what Brock has done. They played the Pleasant Grove really close in week 1, took some losses, but Gunter and Wimberley, those teams they're pretty good. But I don't know. I've heard that Brock's supposedly better, but man, Malakoff with who's their quarterback, Kyle?
Mike Jones.
Oh, Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Okay. Ooh. All right. They impressed me. What they did to a really good Winsboro team last week, I mean, I picked Malakoff to win, but my goodness, I didn't think it was going to be like that. I just think they're rolling right now, and they're looking at this as a little revenge payback on Brock. I think Malakoff takes this one and moves on.
Well, if you don't mind me giving a little self-promotion, since I'm on here a little bit, I do tape a show called the District 4-3A Report every single week. And the District 4-3A Report is about Brock and Paradise and Whitesboro and some of the teams in District 4-3A. And we covered the game. That's why I'm going to this game this week. I'll be at the Star for this Thursday night game. And I'm going to tell you, and it breaks my heart, I do not see Brock winning this game. At the end of the day, when they played Paradise, and I saw Paradise versus Brock, Brock only scored 21 points against Paradise, and that was a broken Paradise team that had their Paradise's quarterback was in the boot the whole week and got out of the boot to play the game, and he was very immobile. And even with that, Brock was only able to score 21 points. From what I understand from my East Texas DFW sources, Malakoff has had this rematch circled since last year, that they've wanted this game because Brock played their best game at the right time last year and kind of out-physicaled Malakoff. And I think Malakoff took offense to that. They didn't like that. And when you look at the returning starters, you talk about Mike Jones, we're going to see a lot of the core players back for Malakoff that fed into this team last year, whereas Brock has a lot of players that are coming back and were not part of that game last year. I think Malakoff has more talent, and what they did against Winsboro completely floored me. And if they play at 80% of that level, I think they're going to beat Brock. Brock, when they get physical, they fold like an accordion. You look at that Gunner game. Gunner hit them hard, and they completely folded. I think Malakoff has the team that can do it this year. Give me Malakoff.
Yeah, I was able to see Malakoff a couple weeks ago when they played Mount Vernon, and just was impressed by their size. They are huge up front. They are athletic on the outside. Mike Jones does a good job of not game managing, because he's a playmaker himself, but controlling the game and kind of keeping the tempo and keeping Malakoff level-headed. I picked Winsboro to beat Malakoff because the same reason that you just said, Matt, about Malakoff having this Brock game circled. Winsboro had that Malakoff game circled all year long. Looking forward to it. And then Malakoff went out there and beat them like they stole something. So that's impressive to me. I'm impressed with that. It wouldn't have surprised me that Malakoff won. The point differential in that game, how they won that game, was the surprising thing. So I think this is Malakoff's year. I know that there will be a tough task in the state championship game if Malakoff gets there, but I think this Malakoff team is something special this year, and I think they're playing with a little extra motivation, maybe a chip on their shoulder. So give me the East Texas version of the Malakoff Tigers.
Ooh.
ETX. Okay. I'm picking the cough. Why?
Because you messed it up last week, Corey, and you went away from the cough.
I did go away from the cough because like I told you, I had to pick Winsboro based off of what I said previously. So that was the only reason why I picked Winsboro. But the cough is the cough for a reason. So now we got to do this. I'm all about revenge games. I love them, and especially teams that knocked you out of the playoffs. Like that's big motivation. 49ers got the Eagles this past week. Great revenge game. Unfortunately, Kilgore couldn't beat Chapel Hill. That was a revenge game too, but it's
a high school show, Corey. Ain't no need to bring in the NFL into this.
It is a high school show, but it's still a revenge game, right? So you gotta bring in the revenge. It's all relative. It's all relative, Brock is. I don't know, man. Brock is good. Brock, but I'm picking Malakoff. I'm going. I've been worried about this one for Malakoff, though. I like the game. I think it's going to be a pretty good one, but I think Malakoff is ready.
I mean, at the end of the day, though, Malakoff is about that defense. Even in this game against Winsboro, what they did to Winsboro, when you look at Malakoff's stats, they're not gaudy because their defense put them in so many good short field situations because they were able to get turnovers. They were able to get short fields. And if they can do that against Brock and just pound away offensively against them, it could get ugly on them. I mean, I've seen a lot of Brock losses. I saw Brock lose last year in the state championship. I saw him against Gunner. And when stuff doesn't go their way, it gets real dicey with them real quick. And I think Malakoff has that archetype that can make it go against them real quick. So Brett, give us your expert advice at this. I know you're going for DFW's own Malakoff, but just because that's what you do. But Brock. They're a good team, but they have holes and they make one or two mistakes consistently every single game. Like you're going to get a turnover or two. That's kind of been their Achilles heel this year. And you can't do that against Malakoff. And believe it or not, against Malakoff last year, that was like the one game that they didn't have turnover in. And that was they played the perfect game against Malakoff and kind of gave us hope that maybe that's what they could do against Franklin. And then Franklin kicked that last second field goal against them. But it's going to take a perfect game and then probably getting a special teams play and a turnover for them to be able to beat Malakoff, in my estimation.
All right. Game 3, Ganado versus Timpson. And if you're a Timpson fan right now, wow, what a break. They avoided Refugio and they get Ganado as Refugio got donkey stomped. Tell me you had that one on your picks, Matt.
No.
I mean,
given the Refugio beat them, 4 weeks ago, and kind of we're talking about that last game malaise, but it happened quite a bit last week. I mean, Byron Nelson beat South Lake Carroll in the regular season, and then South Lake Carroll beat them by 49 in the playoffs, and you got the same thing with Ganado and Refugio flipping like that. So, dangerous team.
I saw Terry Bussey put on his cape last week. JJ Garner goes down the first half, out for the season, I believe, with a knee injury. He puts not that he didn't have one. He took his regular cape, put it on the sideline, put his Superman cape on, and single-handedly led that team past a really good Garrison team that I'd seen the last few weeks, just out physical and out athlete everybody. They did that. They did it to Jacoby Williams, super great athlete going to Tech at Beckville 2 weeks ago. But Terry Bussey is just like that. I've seen highlights, but that was the first time I got to see him in person, and it was impressive. Like he's just that guy. Like I don't know where he's going now if he's changed his commitment, but I sure hope it's the Longhorns. But anyway, I'm going with Timpson. I think they win by a lot. I think this is an easier game. Honestly, no offense to Ganado, but I think Garrison was a lot tougher than them. I just think they're looking at the cross the way. Hopefully they don't look at it that way and say, oh, we don't have to play Refugio, we don't have to show up. But this is that game that's got them the last few years. So I don't think it's going to have I don't think they're going to have any trouble focusing for it, honestly, because Region 4 has been their nemesis. I see Bussey leads them to the state championship game.
Well, here's my concern, and I've heard a lot of people say this. What makes us think that just because Timpson doesn't have to play Refugio, that it's going to be easier? Because if Ganado beat Refugio, maybe Ganado's a better team than Refugio. That's all I'm saying. So maybe we need to not just overlook this game. I don't think Timpson's overlooking this game, but I have a little pause for concern simply for the fact that this is where Timpson seems to fall before they get to the state championship game. I think that, just like you said, Brett, Terry Bussey will put his cape on, and I don't think he will allow this team to lose. But in that same breath, I don't think this is just going to be a run-over game like maybe some people are expecting. I think this is going to be a little closer. I think Timpson's going to have to play some good football. The loss of J.J. Garner is big. I think that's bigger than some are making it out to be because J.J.'s had a heck of a year. He even came in when Terry got hurt early in the season, or was hurt early in the season, coming off surgery, and played outstanding football. So JJ is a tremendous athlete. That's a big loss for Timpson. I still think Timpson is the better team, and I think they will win, but I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people expect.
Man, in 2A, when you've got the best player on the field, that matters a lot. And when that best player is by and far the best player, to me, I'm a big Toller guy. I love Toller just because that's kind of a bit I've run over the last little bit. Another DFW team, Kyle. We're not going to let Big Country or anybody claim them. But we're looking at this game as probably your de facto state championship. I think it's going to be hard for whoever wins this game for the northern teams to beat. And how can you stay with Terry Bussey's speed? I'm going to stick with him until he proves me otherwise. So. Give me
Busting them. You want busting? Okay, Simpson. I'm picking up all these Texas. If you haven't noticed it, I ain't, except for the cough.
Except for Malakoff, that's a
just
hybrid.
think about the borderline thing, See, I didn't know JJ Garner got hurt. Actually, I know he was injured. I didn't think he was out for the rest of the season. That may change some things just a little bit.
Yeah. It was his knee. They actually got carted off into the locker room. So, and we'll have that game. That our NETSN guys will be at this game, doing the game for NFHS. So, it'll be available to watch. I'll have that one as one of my games. I'll be keeping an eye on. It's on Thursday night. So, it'll be interesting to see. Corey, you like Bussy and them?
Yeah, I just Superman's gonna have to do it. I mean, I really want him to at least win, get him a state championship. And he's done everything he could do. He's been Mr. Texas football, and he's gotten pretty far in the playoffs. And I want them to. I'd love for him to finish that story. You know what I'm saying? Especially with everything he's gone through. I'd like for him to finish the story just for him. Especially after the decommit from Oklahoma. God, please finish this story. That's the best. Not Oklahoma, but Texas A&M. That's the best news I heard all year. But I mean, I'd like for him to finish that and win him a state championship. That I know that would mean a lot for them. I'm a stickler for a good story, a good movie. So I want that to happen for
him. Game 4, where Kyle currently is there at McLean Stadium. That's where I'll be doing the broadcast.
Getting there early. I like my guy.
I gotta get there early and set up, Matt. Gotta get the best seat in the house.
San Antonio Davenport and the Chapel Hill Bulldogs. Guys, there's nothing to say about this. Chapel Hill's got, I won't say got in the bag, but they should handle this one. I mean, the game last week with Kilgore was incredible. They were able to get the revenge and got the win over them for the third time in a row in the 4th round. And they've been here before. This is the 3rd time for Chapel Hill in a row to be at this game. And to me, looking back at who they played previously, and no offense to San Antonio Davenport, but I don't think they're as good as the last 2 teams that Chapel Hill's ran into, Austin, LBJ, and Bernie. I think the Bernie going out early is going to help Chapel Hill in this one. I just don't think that they're going to have the speed and athleticism to play with Chapel Hill. Now, Chapel Hill is going to be tested on the outside. They're going to have to I know Davenport likes to fling it around. I think the quarterback has something like 3,500 yards for the year. They're going to have to play good pass defense. But I look at Day Ross and Trevor Brooks to be in the backfield a lot, making their life a living, this week. So I'm going with Chapel Hill, and I'm looking forward to possibly it may be that other DFW team on the other side that maybe looming in the championship game.
I need a favor of you, Mr. NETSN, as we're talking geography or whatnot. We were talking about Dangerfield, and Dangerfield played, they lost to Harmony. What do you call Harmony, by the way? Like, if you're talking about Harmony, do you just call them Harmony?
Yeah.
I know Gilmer Harmony or
well, here's the thing.
Harmony.
It's technically Gilmer Harmony that way, but their address is Big Sandy. So
you just call them Harmony, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's my beef with Davenport, because Davenport's not in San Antonio. It's not in San Antonio ISD. It has nothing to do with the city of San Antonio. Yet we're calling them San Antonio. Let's just call them Davenport, like we call them Harmony here, because it has nothing to do with it. It's in Como County. It's closer to New Braunfels than it is to San Antonio. But that being said, they're closer to the state championship than they're going to get because Tyler Chapel Hill is going to take care of business. Davenport is one of those new fun teams that, it's a new high school. They're bigger than they actually are because they're building up. So right now they probably got 5A numbers in there, and that they kind of get a little bit of an advantage when it comes to depth when it comes to that. But Chapel Hill, the fact that they could overcome Kilgore and overcome what Kilgore did to them and take care of business, I really like them. Davenport has some flaws. I mean, they've lost a few games this year that kind of tells me that they're not in Chapel Hill's league. So I'm going to take Chapel Hill to take care of business and come up to the DFW Metroplex.
Also, Professor, we just call them Chapel Hill, not Tyler Chapel Hill. It doesn't matter that they're
that's how we know that you're not from East Texas. If you say Tyler Chapel Hill, oh, you're not from here.
You're not from around here. Are they not in Tyler either?
No,
they're in Chapel Hill.
Oh,
no,
they're outside of Tyler.
So we got Chapel Hill and Davenport. We don't got Tyler Chapel Hill and San Antonio Davenport.
It's right. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this game. Shout out Coach McFarland. I'm really looking forward to this game though. I think that Chapel Hill, and we'll talk more about it tonight, I know, but Chapel Hill played a heck of a game last Friday night against Kilgore. The defense was phenomenal. And I know that we've talked a lot about the defense this year for Chapel Hill. If there's been an Achilles heel to this team, it's been their defense. But last Friday night, after Kilgore kind of put it on them in that final week of the season at home, Chapel Hill came out and put it right back on Kilgore, scored 2 early touchdowns and got out and really held that lead. A little concerned they didn't score in the second half. I know one got called back, but little concerned that they didn't score in the second half. But Kilgore's got a really good defense. Coupled with the fact that the Davenport announcers added a little fuel to this fire at the end of the last game, and the way that Ricky Stewart was running last week, he was running like he was pissed off at the world. And I think maybe that whole Chapel Hill team is. They got that mentality of it's Chapel Hill against the world, Chapel Hill against everybody.
That clip was sent to Miss Coach McFarland to share with the team.
Yeah, so give me Chapel Hill by as much as they want. And if I know Coach Reardon well enough, if he gets up big, he will not call off the dogs, no pun intended, because of the statements that the announcers made. So, and I think they're out to prove something. 3 years, third year in a row that you've been to the 5th round, a step away from playing for a state championship. There's something special about this Chapel Hill team too, for them to battle back the way they did against Kilgore.
Probably the most playoff games in the last 3 or 4 years without making a state championship, I would gather. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but you've got 5, 5, 5, and the year before 3.
Yeah,
so they played
a lot of playoff games without a state championship appearance.
Games in 4 years.
Yeah, so give me Chapel Hill. They get the monkey off their back. Give me Chapel Hill.
Chapel Hill hasn't been this successful since probably the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I don't think we've ever had back-to-back 10-win seasons, like ever. We may have been close, maybe 9 or 8.
What about 2000 or what about 2010 and 2011 back-to-back state championship appearances?
Okay, yeah, that's right. But that was 10 years ago. But then it took another 15, 20 years later. So
yeah, it was.
But no, I'm gonna take us back to last year. When the first time I saw Bernie on tape, I was like, man, they're big. And they look strong, they look tough, and I wasn't gonna say that. I was like, we got to stick to a game plan. We were not playing very good football in the playoffs last year. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We let some things go. We kind of got lackadaisical in the playoffs and let some teams compete with us they weren't supposed to compete with, and that's kind of how it was. You win district, you beat Kilgore, beat them convincingly in the district championship game, then play against Kilgore the second time, and they kind of flex their muscle a little bit, but they still beat them. You kind of let Livingston hang around, and Lumberton was beating you at first. So they kind of didn't play very well. Nobody's had a lead against this team in the playoffs at all. They've pretty much dominated every single time they played. Kilgore, it's hard to beat somebody twice, keep playing this familiar opponent. As you play a familiar opponent all the time, it's never going to get out of hand. It's like a district rival. It's never going to get out of hand. It's going to be close. So what I think, I mean, this Davenport team, the OC is he was at Bernie for 20 years. So not the OC, but the head coach was at Bernie for 20 years. So I'm pretty sure he's going to go back and talk to his buddies at Bernie. How did you guys beat Chapel Hill? You know, they run the same scheme, same everything. So they're going to have them ready. They don't have the same dogs Bernie has. They're not as big. They're not as quick as they're on the outside. They've got some dogs. They got some animals. They got a great outside linebacker. They don't have the athletes, you know. And I think that's the advantage that Chapel has at this point. Now, motivation, at this point, you know, Professor, you may agree with me on this one. At this point, it ain't got nothing to do with X's and O's. You make it this far, it's whether you want it or not. You know, you've been here. This is your third time, whether you want it or not. You're going to let this new team that just started playing football take something away from you that you've been taking 3 years in a row. No. I don't care how good they are. I don't even don't let them get a first down. You know, just rip their heart out easy. Just take it out. Take them out. Don't let them get an inch. I don't care. Oh, we're proud. We're wolving. We're, you know, the disrespect. First of all, the district, somebody's going to have to pay for Bernie beating us, right? Somebody's going to pay for Bernie beating us, right? Somebody's got to pay. And I've been doing this all playoffs. We'll continue to do it. Go Dogs. That's what I'm doing. Because why I'm going for the Bulldogs, that's what we're doing right here. Somebody's going to pay for Bernie beating us, all right? Somebody's going to pay. And I'm going to keep repeating that till it happens. Coach McFarland, Coach Ritter, everybody out there, somebody is going to pay. And you make them pay every time you hit somebody. You hope it's a greyhound jersey, but don't forget their opponent. Make them pay every time you hear a wolf. You hope it's a dog.
And you make a really good point about the coaching at this point and how it's a lot less about the X's and O's and about that internal motivation and wanting it and no longer happy to be here. You got Chapel Hill who's pissed, and you got Chapel Hill who's got motivation and they've been here. I think Davenport's happy to be here. I mean, you know, unless they have some incredible coaching, I think they're happy to be here. And I think Chapel Hill wants to fight them. And I think they want to get to that next step, and they've been feeling this. I remember them playing Stephenville in the Star a couple of years ago with a bunch of these freshman kids who are now getting, to be juniors and seniors, and they kind of looked like they were just happy to be here as they're getting started off on this run. If they've got good coaches, and I know they do over at Chapel Hill, they're ready to take that next step, and they're ready to just demolish Davenport. And you see in the 4th and 5th round, some of these games go real ugly real quick because you've got that motivated team. And I think that this game could be one of those games that gets real ugly real quick.
It's a big statement. They got to do it. It's a mentality. You know, they beat Kilgore. Like a lot of, no, Chapel's not beating Kilgore. Like, okay, well, I didn't think Chapel Hill played their best football. I thought Kilgore kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit in the playoffs. But I thought Chapel Hill has been playing their best football. You know, they haven't given up 20 points all playoffs. You know, everything's been 19, 18, the most points. I will take that back. The El Campo game, that was hard.
No, that was the well, one of those was a block punt.
Yeah, it was a block punt. You know, that was weird. You know, but either way it goes, the defense has been playing well. Defense travels. I don't care if your offense can't get in the end zone. Defense travels. If you can stop somebody, all you got to do is score 3 points. Kick a field goal, get a safety. You win the football game. I don't care if it's that ugly. But whatever happens, defense is going to be the bell cow. It's going to take them there. They've got the chance to do it. It's an opportunity to do it. I hope they get it. I'm picking the Bulldogs. Not going to hope. Not going to wish. They will.
Hey, and to Professor's point, I was just looking over here. I went to our logo website to get the Davenport logo. On the website, it says Comal Davenport Wolves. Does not say San Antonio. It says, what'd you say? Comal
County.
Comal County. It says Comal Wolves. So they're not San Antonio. Okay. They're just Davenport.
Well, I put that more for that's what everybody was calling them, and so that people doing the pick 'em would know.
I get it. I'm just saying they need to figure out where they're located before they start putting school names on there.
Yeah. Well, Game 5, guys, I sure didn't think this was going to be who was playing in this game. I thought we might have a little rematch of Glen Rose Carthage. But Gilmer said, not so fast, my friends, as they upset Carthage. And so, man, you come through that region that Gilmer did. man, they're hungry right now. I don't see them getting stopped. I look here at Glen Rose. They've taken some L's this year. Grandview, we know they're pretty good, but they're lower. They're a lower classification. So, I mean, but they got whooped by Grandview. Graham, Brownwood, they were playing until last week. I don't know. You beat Carthage to me. That jumps you to the top of the pecking order. I've seen how good Gilmer is. They've had a good offense all year long. It's just could they stop anybody? They've got a lot of athletes and a lot of speed. So I think they're rolling right now, and they're coming out of I would say the best region of 4A Division II. I think they win, and I don't think Glen Rose overlooks them. I think they're going to be like, oh, we're not having to play Carthage, and they may, not take them as serious. And I think Gilmer gets the win here.
I have to go away and go to my other podcast. I got my producer in my ear saying, "Diggs, get on over here." So I was going to give a quick thought, then I'm going to hop on and hear what y'all have to think afterward. But exactly what he was talking about with Chapel Hill, I think you may have a little bit with Glen Rose right now, because Glen Rose got their hearts broke last year against Carthage. I mean, I was there at that game. Glen Rose should have won that game, just running the clock out. And how many times are we going to talk about Carthage should have lost? And, finally Gilmer made it happen. But Carthage is living the Rosemary Leaves ride. I mean, I love what Carthage continues to do. But Glen Rose was not expected to be good this year. And you talk about how Grandview beat them. Remember how bad Malakoff beat Grandview? Yeah. I mean, this is not a great Glen Rose team, but they are playing their best at the right time, and they have belief, and that's, they're not going to have the talent. They haven't had the talent all year, but they were probably 3 touchdown underdogs to West Plains, and they beat the hell out of West Plains. They are a very scary team because they've got that memory of last year in Carthage, and I know that Gilmer is not the same as Carthage. They got the upset and whatnot. And Gilmer is a team that I look at earlier in the year, and I'm like, this Gilmer team isn't nearly as good as they've been in the last couple of years. Yet here they are. Here Glen Rose is. One of these broken teams who we were not expected to be there is going to make it to the state championship. I always put my money on the East Texas Speed when it comes to this, but the way Glen Rose beat West Plains, I think should give you pause and make you think a little bit about whether or not you're just going to go give the Gilmer line, because what Glen Rose did last week and the way they did it is next level special. And if they are dialed in, or they got some sort of super freshman who we haven't heard of quite yet, who is turning on the Jets right now, that's a team you need to watch and be aware of. Gentlemen, thank you for having me on.
So,
and
Matt, where are you going to be this week, real quick?
I'm going to Brock Malakoff, and then Frisco Emerson versus South Oak Cliff, and then DeSoto versus South Lake Carroll.
Ooh, awesome. You got some good football. I appreciate you joining us tonight, and good luck in your picks. Oh, who'd you pick, by the way? You didn't actually make a pick.
I'm taking Gilmer, but I think it's going to be a one-score game.
Okay. Close. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Matt.
See you, Professor.
Appreciate it.
So, listen, I think the upset of the week last week was Gilmer beating Carthage. Carthage was on a 29-game win streak. So was Georgia, and they all both lost. But anyway, I digress. Carthage, I think Carthage is a great football team, outstanding program. I think that Pleasant Grove game for Carthage was their state championship game. And I realized it was in the third round, but the magnitude of that game, the crowd at that game, the intensity, how that game ended, them winning by 3, I'm almost afraid that it took everything out of Carthage. Like it took everything out of them, because they had to come back in that game. They were down by 2 scores in that game, had to come back. The Gilmer game was back and forth. They had to come back in under a minute and score 8 points to even get that game into overtime. So you talked about it all year, Brett, that you thought this was the year that Carthage could get got. I didn't think it was going to be Gilmer that got him, though.
I didn't
and that's not a slight at Gilmer, because Coach Metzel has Gilmer playing a lot better. We talked after the center game. I even spoke to Coach Metzel after the game about it, and he even said they moved some people around and kind of got the defense playing better. Now, they still gave up 44 points to Carthage. Defense is still a concern, but I think they can make enough stops now that their offense it balances out. So I'm going to take Gilmer because I'm not picking against East Texas. That's just silly. So I'm taking Gilmer, and I really think they have a chance, especially we talked about this too with the extra motivation that Gilmer's playing with, the young man that tragically lost his mom earlier in the year, right before postseason started, actually. It seems like they've just been playing with an extra motivation right now and a kind of extra energy. And so I think that can carry them to the state championship. And thankfully for them, Carthage knocked out Pleasant Grove, so Gilmer didn't have to play Pleasant Grove, because I think that could have got ugly. But Gilmer, man, they made the adjustments they needed to, and they beat a very good Carthage team that had dominated the state. So what you don't want to see from Gilmer is a letdown now. You don't want the same thing that I think may have happened with Carthage, a letdown after the Pleasant Grove game. You don't want to let down from Gilmer now after you beat Carthage. So you got to go out there. You got to play Glen Rose. Glen Rose is going to come in and be hungry to make it to a state championship. But give me the Gilmer Buckeyes.
You know, the quicksand. I'm just gonna say quicksand. A lot of people use that analogy when they're, when you're kind of riding high a little bit, and you get complacent, and you slowly start to sink a little bit. Like you don't realize it, but that's kind of what it is. It's like we're just going through the motion. We're winning. All of a sudden you had a 1-point win, and you got 3 or 4 1-point wins, and you won by a field goal, and you're barely making it, but you're slowly sinking, until this time got to the point where, okay, we're here, but are we a really good football team? And that's not Gilmer. I thought that was at the beginning of the year. It looked like Gilmer was really real, like they were trying to find themselves. And I remember saying it at the beginning of the year. I said, get Gilmer now. Next year they're going to be a problem. Yeah, next year maybe right now for them. You know what I'm saying? Like the youth for that team, they've got a plethora of sophomores. I think they got like maybe 25 sophomores, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot. And then for them to only lose against state-ranked opponents, let me count them: Gilmer, not Gilmer, but Chapel Hill, Kilgore, Pleasant Grove. All state-ranked opponents, top 3. Like that. Those are. If this, I can't even say it now, because clearly they wouldn't have made it to the Final Four of the college football playoffs. That resume is impressive. Your only losses against top ranked opponents, that's not bad. No one expected Gilmer to be here, man, and for them to make it this far and to get beat, that's not the Gilmer way. And I kind of been pumping them up a little bit. I've been wanting them to kind of prove some people wrong a little bit, and I think that's where we are. This is one of those games, man. Christian kept saying Glen Rose, Glen Rose, Glen Rose, Glen Rose, but I'm not picking against East Texas team right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's not going to happen. It's a Beast Texas sweep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what it is. It's a Beast Texas sweep. That's what this is going to be. That's what I believe. I think all of these teams have been playing great. I think if it wasn't Carthage, it was going to be somebody. Right now, Gilmer's playing their best football. And that's what you wanted it to be. They were tested early. They put it together. All we got to do is make the play. Sometimes all you got to do is make the dance. Hey, they're at the dance. Cinderella still got a shoe on. I'm picking Gilmer, baby. Let's go.
And just to add, Vince sent me his picks, and he agreed with us. He has all East Texas. He has Dangerfield, Malakoff, Tinston, Chapel Hill, and Gilmer.
It's kind of hard to outpick those teams.
Well, I mean, you know me. If I thought that I'm gonna go with whoever I think is gonna win. I did a little research with the other teams, and I don't think, to me, there wasn't many that were close. I just think Dangerfield's playing well right now. I think Malakoff has got this Brock game circled. They're rolling. Timpson, I mean, they're seeing across the chest. They're kind of in the same boat as Chapel Hill. They've been knocked out in the same round a couple of years in a row. They're wanting some revenge. And then you got Gilmer, who just beat Carthage last week. So how do you go against someone that just knocked off the best team in the state? So I mean, it's just that it hadn't lost.
Lost a game in 26 games?
Was it 29, Kyle?
Yeah, 29, 26 games, something like that.
A lot.
Yeah, it was 26, 29. It was a lot of games.
A lot of games. So I mean, you just think about that, and it's hard to pick against that at this point. Now, I will say last year, I don't know if you guys remember, we were kind of sitting in the same spot. We had about 4 or 5 teams left, and there was only one that made it to state, and that was Carthage. So hopefully we'll have a little bit.
I think we'll have more this year. Obviously, I don't. As much as I want all the East Texas teams to win, I don't think all of them will. I mean, obviously, I'm picking them, but I truthfully, I don't think all of them will. I just don't know. I can't sit here and tell you who's going to be the one that loses. I think all of them have the capability to make it to state. I think they all can win this week, but you know as well as I do, all 5 more than likely will not win. But maybe they will, and maybe we'll get lucky.
Hey, we'll get all 5.
We're all gonna be 5-0. 5-0. You know, I don't mind that at all.
There's some other things going on this week. Before we wrap up, Kyle, where you got to where are you there? I'm looking there, and that stadium looks familiar.
Yeah, this is the house that Dawson Pendergrass builds. It is McLean Stadium in Waco, home of the Baylor Bears. Looking forward to this game. I've secretly wanted to call a game here for the past 2 or 3 years, and haven't had the chance. Well, I had the chance.
You know, I know a guy who's going to call a game here.
Well, anyway, I've had a chance the past few years, but just never got to actually do it. So, never been to McLean Stadium, seen it on TV. Super excited to be there and excited to be on the field to kind of be in the action with everything, and excited to hopefully get to talk to Coach Reardon after the game about the Chapel Hill Bulldogs going to state. So that's where I'll be Friday night. Not going anywhere Thursday night. Got some Funkle duties to attend to, but yeah, very looking forward to Friday night.
Well, if you get a chance to sneak away, we got a headset upstairs. We'll throw on you if you.
I don't need. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know how to get to the press box. So we'll see what happens.
All right, I'm sure there's an elevator somewhere.
I'm sure. I may need y'all to send me rosters because I don't know if I can get up there.
Okay, yeah, we can hook you up with that.
Right.
That'll be where me and Keith will be. You may see Christian down there. We're gonna send him down the sideline. He's gonna be our sideline reporter for the game, so he'll be down there trying to be in the action down there with you. Corey, what are you going to be up to?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
Yes, you do.
I sure hope you know,
man. I'm gonna be somewhere, man. Managing. I got my fantasy thing going on. I got college basketball. There's high school football going on.
Corey,
I don't know. I don't know if I have any time.
I'm leaving you in charge. You don't even know where you're going to be Friday night.
Man, you talking about Friday night?
Well, yeah. We said where are you going to be doing this? Corey,
I know you picked the day.
That was your cue to tell everyone about our basketball tournament we have this week on NETSN.
Of course, I got the cue. So yeah, we'll be doing the basketball tournament at Brook Hill. So yeah. That's why
I'll be there Thursday. Me and Corey will be out there Thursday all day. So if you can come by and see us, otherwise we'll have games going on NETSN all day long. So if you get bored at work and need something to do, Kyle, you can tune in and
chime in.
Action. Yeah. And then Friday I'll be there in the morning, and then I'll hand it off and leave it with Corey, and I'll be taking off to Waco for the football game. And Jeremy's going to help out a little bit there. And then I'll be back Saturday to wrap it up. We'll have 24 games in 3 days. So it should be a lot of fun there.
Hey, I know that math. That's 8 games a day.
That is 8 games a day, starting at 9:00 every day. The last game will be at 7:30. So it'll be a big week. Probably just count the things that NETSN has going on this week. We'll have tonight, as we're recording this on Monday, we have the Coach Ricky Meek show going on NETSN. Tomorrow night, we have 3 basketball games, which when you guys hear this will already be over, so you can go back and watch them. And then, of course, we'll have this show on Wednesday morning. It'll come on, and you'll get to listen to us then. And then tonight, the wrap-up show will be on Wednesday night. And then I think Thursday we'll have basketball all day. Friday we'll have basketball all day. We'll also have the audio-only broadcast of the Timpson game Thursday and the Chapel Hill game Friday, along with those broadcasts on NFHS and Texan Live. And then Saturday we'll have basketball all day long. So this is like one of the probably the most busy weeks ever in NETSN history, fellas.
A lot going on, and a lot of good games going to be on. Whether it's what a catch! Whether it's football, whether it's basketball, there's going to be some good games on. So if you ain't got nothing else to do, we'll have Feast Week Part 2. You could just sit at home this weekend. Yeah, leftover week. Leftover week. Just sit at home, pull up YouTube, watch NETSN. You can watch basketball all day. You can't. There's no football Saturday. Army, Navy, but there's no football games on Saturday. So you got nothing else to do than watch the basketball.
Yeah, should be a great week on NETSN. And again, Corey and I'll be out there. We're going to try to get Kyle out there for a few games if we can get him over there.
Saturday.
Yes. And then of course we've got a lot of games scheduled coming up, and so we've got a lot going on. I know football is kind of winding down for us, but basketball season is kicking in full gear. And tournament season is always fun, and we're glad we're able to broadcast the Brook Hill Invitational this year. Shout out to them for letting us do that.
Shout out to Coach Hubbard.
Yeah, Coach Hubbard. He was supporting his cheerleading squad tonight. I haven't heard how they did, but he was with his wife's the cheer coach at Brook Hill, so he's supporting the cheerleaders. They're actually defending state champions. They were competing for state this evening, so hopefully they're doing well. Guys, final thoughts before we wrap up?
I'm not concerned about my Philadelphia Eagles, Corey, even though you tried to take a shot at them a while ago.
I really wasn't trying to take a shot. It was it tied in. Everything tied in. It was.
If it had been the other way around, do you think he'd have used that reference?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
I probably would have used it.
I'm not worried about my Philadelphia Eagles. We got a big one against the Cowgirls this weekend.
Wow. I was trying to help you, Kyle, and you just
way to redirect that energy. Okay. Way to redirect that energy.
Call them the Sheagles.
I like it.
Eagles.
I like it.
It should be a good game Sunday night. But no, I really do think this is the best time of the year for high school football. We've separated the contenders from the pretenders at this point. All these teams left in the playoff. You're down to the Final Four in each conference, and I think I know there's been a lot of talk about 4 teams here this weekend, but I think that you're going to have the 4 best teams in the state going at it. And 2 of them are going to move on and play for a state championship next week. I think it's the best time of the year. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. Other than March Madness. March Madness is the best time of the year, but outside of March Madness, this is great.
It really is, because March Madness is like the best part about this time of year is that March is coming. Beware the odds of March. I always say that. Beware the odds of March. You got Feast Week, which is all of your tournaments. Then you got the Big 12, Big 10, the Big 12 SEC Challenge, all this other kind of stuff. They got that going on. Then you got high school football. Then the bowl games start. It's a dead period of ESPN time where all the bowl games are happening. Shout out to Texas and
the unimportant bowls.
Yeah. Well, you watch, sometimes, people got to watch.
Hey, speaking of that, guys, I pushed out the link today, but we're going to have a NETSN Bowl Challenge, a Pick'em Challenge. So any of those of you that are interested, I'll be sending that link out a few more times, but we're going to have a little group, kind of a little battle between the NETSN crew and any of you out there that want to participate. So if you want to lose some more to us, or maybe you be like maybe you can be like our man Jason and put it to us
and dominate the competition.
Yeah,
dominate the bowl games. Yeah. Well, first of all, you got to, before you do your pick, got to wait to see if any of the other draft picks are not going to play, because
we already know Caleb Williams ain't playing.
Yeah,
Caleb Williams sitting out.
He's probably going to cry about that anyway. Cry about everything else. Probably cried about making the decision to sit out. Like,
why are you hating on the man, Corey?
I'm not hating. How soft do you have to be? Like, come on, dude. You about to make millions of dollars. I would care less.
But listen,
I would care less.
I appreciate that, because here's the problem, Corey. Used to, back in the good old days, before NIL was around, Back in the good old days, you had people playing for the love of the game, Corey. You had people playing for the love of the game. And that's what Caleb Williams, he just loves the game, man. He just wanted to win so bad.
If he loves the game, why is he sitting out?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'd say here.
Hear me out. So he loves the game so much that once he was crying because he realized his chances at a championship for this year gone. They were done. So he was heartbroken about it. Now, while he's not playing in the bowl game, completely understand. It's a meaningless bowl game. Doesn't matter for a thing. He's got an NFL career to worry about. So
that's why the playoffs going to be so much better, because there'll be more meaningful games. You'll have less of the better players sitting out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't like it. I don't like the players sitting out, but I understand it. Like if you have a multi-million-dollar opportunity awaiting you, why play in a meaningless bowl game and get hurt and hurt your draft stock? So I don't like it, but I understand it.
I honestly,
so you know what they need to do?
Get rid of the bowls altogether.
No, they need to start just paying the players every bowl game.
They do.
It depends on what bowl you can go to. Oh, you get 100,000. If the winner gets 50,000, the loser gets 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, hey, that's $50,000 cash. Oh, you get that Monday.
It'll be like eventually it'll be like December, January madness. You'll have they'll have this football. It's at 12 right now, but it's going to keep expanding.
You think it'll get to 64 like the NCAA?
I don't think it'll get that.
I don't think it'll get to 64, maybe 12, but
no, I think it may be at maybe this 16, 16 or 20 at some point. I don't think they'll go any bigger than that, because
12 is good.
You'd have so many. It'd take you so long to get through that, because you can't play them too close together. You got to give them a little bit of rest, right? I mean,
what I would suggest. I would suggest in-season bowl games where you pick teams preseason and you do preseason bowl games so you can get the bowl games out of the way. You got
because
Michigan
the NBA in-season tournament has gone over so well.
That is the stupidest. I can't even. I don't even know what. I don't know what they're doing. Like, what the hell is going on? I thought this was going to be like a tournament where you got 6-8 teams in and one. I have no idea what they're doing. I can care less about that.
Yeah,
it is absolutely pointless. But they're going to have some kind of preseason bowl games, like I've been saying for years. Just do preseason bowl games where you got certain teams from certain conferences play here and let it go. And after you get that, get them out the way. So you can have the big bowl games or the actual playoff games. That's what you do. You have the other bowl games and the playoff games. So you got Sugar Bowl games in the playoff game, and you get this, and then just throwing incentives with that. Every single bowl game is $10,000. You win this ball game, make it to the next round, another $10,000. Because I'm tired of NIL. Apparently, it costs $2 million just to get a high profile quarterback. They're just buying. It is a free agent. It is. I don't even want to talk about that. It is crazy.
It's lost. It's lost. It's like the thing that I used to always love about college sports is that it wasn't like the NFL. Like you were playing for the love of the game. You were trying to get to that next level to get that bag.
To get to the money.
Yeah, but now you can get paid in college. So now you have these college athletes acting like NFL athletes before they even get to the league. You're giving an 18-year-old millions of dollars. Y'all go back to when you're 18.
Dangerous.
What if you got millions of dollars at 18 years old? I wouldn't know how to act.
Dangerous, bro.
I'd have spent it probably.
Man.
That's what I'm saying. I think NIL. I agree that the players. Talk about Johnny Manziel. His jersey sales were out of this world, but he couldn't sign an autograph and get money for it because he got in trouble. So stuff like that. Like if the school is profiting off you, you should be able to profit off your name. I totally agree with that. But this is getting astronomical. You're paying kids $2-3 million to play college football. Come on, man. There's got to be a regulation to it.
That and the transfer portal, between those two things,
you got kids playing 7 years.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the transfer
what are you
portal,
doing?
I agree with the transfer portal only for this reason. A coach can leave at any time, so a kid should be able to leave at any time. I mean, if a coach can do it, then the kid should be able to do it. But there's got to be a limit to these transfers. You can't just be a JT Daniels and go to 5 different colleges in your career.
Yeah, you only are allowed one transfer. That is it.
I would agree with that. One transfer, you're stuck. Yeah, I agree with that. You're
stuck after that. And after that, you can transfer, but you're paying for it. You're not on scholarship.
Right. And you're losing eligibility.
You losing it because I didn't like though. You have to sit out. You got to sit out. Let them play. Don't sit out. Don't block them from doing that. You can't transfer in conference. Has to be outside of a conference. I totally agree with that because I wouldn't want a Ohio State kid going to Michigan State or Michigan State going to. I wouldn't want that. That's kind of conflict of interest, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So he'll know whatever, but he can only transfer outside the conference. Blah blah blah. It's got to be. And you know the pissy thing that got me with the whole NCAA, they just said, okay, you want NIL? We ain't nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
have at it. We'll wipe our hands clean. Like
it's
y'all been controlling. Now. Yeah, you've been controlling, and they did that on purpose because they knew exactly what they were doing. And down they said, now everybody said, okay, NCAA, we need help. We need help. We need help. Well, now you want us to help you, you know, because Alabama and LSU was getting on the kids in Texas.
Sounds like we need a show for this, fellas.
Man, I've been trying to have like an NFL show or a college show. I've been
waiting on the KO show. When's the KO show coming?
When would you like me to do it? I ain't got no time.
I know. It'll be this after football's over, we'll free some time up. I'm still waiting on we got to do a wrestling show soon. I'm chomping at the bits to talk to you guys about everything that's going on in the last month and a half. So
I know we almost had a wrestling show with me, you, and the professor. Corey could have chimed in with some wrestling stuff. He could have talked about.
I have no idea.
You can fake it till you
I have no idea about. I don't know anything about the new wrestling. All I know is a Hulkamaniac and
there you go.
And Stone Steve Austin and
brother.
What are you doing, brother? I don't know anything about that, man. I don't know. You lost me wrestling.
Well, we appreciate everyone for tuning in to the Beasts and These show today. We appreciate our man, Professor Matt Diggs, for stepping in and giving us a little extra knowledge. He has a lot of good things on I think his website. He's in the DFW Insider. Go follow him at Professor Diggs. He's got a lot of good information. Go ahead, Kyle.
Real quick, I just want to get y'all's thoughts since we already diverted off on this track.
Yeah.
Top 4 college playoffs. Florida State being left out as an undefeated Power 5 team. What do y'all think?
I think it was the right choice by the committee. I think they took the best 4 teams. Honestly, I think it sucks for Florida State. It does, but this is why next year that'll fix a lot of what's going on. Unfortunately, it's a year too late. Next year, it would have fixed itself. But I mean, I think they did right. I mean, it was obviously, I don't know that Washington's the best team, but their resume says that they haven't lost and they've beat Oregon twice. I don't know that they're the second best team. I think Michigan probably is for what they've played. I think those two are where they had to be. And then with the Texas head to head with Alabama, I think they did go with that fairly. I think they were in the right spot. And then if you just look at Alabama and Florida State, what Alabama did against Georgia, I mean, and I don't know if you guys suffered through that Louisville, Florida State game, but that was just, I didn't want to see that again. No offense, but they just were not good. Their defense was good, but neither offense could do anything. It was ugly. I just didn't think they would fit in those 4 teams. I think we'll probably see that unless Georgia has a lot of guys opt out of the bowl. I think Georgia should destroy Florida State.
That's an interesting bowl game. Go ahead.
You know what's funny? It had nothing to do with football. It was all TV and TV money. AT&T and the network said you better not put Florida State in there without a Heisman hopeful in the game. Nobody wants to see a third-string quarterback play against Georgia. Nobody wants to see a third-string quarterback play. Anyway, that had nothing to do with football. I don't care what anybody says. At the end of the day, you can complain because they're 13-0. How are you 13-0 undefeated and you don't get a chance to play for a national championship? That's crazy. So whose spot you gonna take? Alabama. Like no, Alabama won the SEC. SEC don't get any. They don't get any hierarchy over anybody. So what? Have Alabama play Alabama and Georgia play again? I don't care. You put FSU there 13-0. Texas beat Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia. So Texas gets the precedence over them, right? You beat the best team, beat one of the best teams. This is how it's gonna go. Put them up there, and then or you put Florida State up there, and you just have a playoff. But that had nothing to do with football. That was all money. Because why? Somebody said, I don't want to see a third-string quarterback play a team that has all their healthy players. all the healthy stars. That's what they said. Now, if the third string quarterback was playing since week 2, a different story.
Well,
And they were 13-0.
I would even argue if you go back to the first year of the playoff, I think it was the first year, back in 2014 when Ohio State lost, I believe it was J.T. Barrett, that was their quarterback at that time, but Cardale Jones came in, and he was a third-string quarterback. But the difference is he came in, threw for 400 yards, and Ohio State kept blowing people out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
If Louisville was any better, they would have beat Florida State Saturday night. They gave them they blocked a punt inside the 10 and then threw a pick. So
you couldn't have had a better opportunity to upset and win a football game than Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville
it was given to you.
And now I will agree, like Florida State beat 3 top 15 teams and even beat a top 15 team in the ACC championship to remain undefeated. You can only play who's on your schedule. You can't control anything outside of that. So I feel bad for Florida State, but at the same time, what kind of Igbo puts 4 teams in a playoff when you have 5 Power 5 conferences like that? So somebody's getting left out. So you got Michigan, Big Ten champ, Washington, Pac-12 champ, Texas, Big 12 champ. All 3 of those were in. After Texas won, I figured they were in. It came down between Bama and Florida State. Bama won the SEC by beating the number 1 team in the state that hadn't lost a game in 2 years. Back-to-back championships. That's a bigger win than Florida State barely beating a bad Louisville team.
And if you just watch the football on the field, you could see the quality was horrible.
Now, the only thing I'll disagree with a little bit is, Brett, you said the 4 best teams. I think Georgia's still one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
And they're left out. So, but that's the problem with only 4 teams.
And they don't have, but the difference was they don't have the championship. They didn't win.
Right. But and here's what's wild, though, when you look at the numbers. So Texas was 7th. They win the Big 12 over a bad Oklahoma State team.
And
they jump up to 3. Bama beats the number 1 team in the country, Georgia. They move from 8 to 4. Florida State does everything they can with a third-string quarterback to win a football game, and they drop out. Like it's unfair. I hate it for Florida State. It's unfair. But this is the problem with only having 4 teams when you have 5 power conferences.
And Texas
left out.
Texas benefited from Alabama's win too, because that made their win look that much better.
Exactly.
So they got like a double boost, one of those double power ups.
That's why I wouldn't, especially after. Well, when Texas won the Big 12, I said they're in regardless in my mind. But then after Bama won, well, that solidified it because now they have a win over Bama, and there was no chance that Bama was going to get in and Texas wasn't, because Texas beat them.
It was either Texas by themselves or there was a pair. That was the only way.
I hate it for Florida State, and for Florida State people being outraged about it, 100% justified, because it doesn't make sense that you go undefeated in a Power 5 conference, win your conference championship, and you're left out of the playoff because your quarterback got hurt. Like, I get it, but a lot of this also has to do with TCU getting their doors blown off in the national championship, and nobody wants to see that again. And so
here's your chance, Florida State. Go out and beat Georgia.
Handily.
Show us.
Yeah, they'll go out and beat them because Georgia's going to rest 23 starters. They're going to rest all the starters.
I think Georgia could
and all 23 of them playing in the NFL next year.
I think Georgia could rest 23 starters and still beat Florida State.
That game's going to be interesting because you got 2 teams that feel slighted. Georgia feels slighted because they didn't lose all year, losing the final game, like the conference championship, and you're dropped out completely.
I'd be pissed.
Well, we've seen years that the SEC champion, the championship game, the loser still is in the playoffs. But it's just a different year. There's more good teams this year. And the SEC is not as powerful.
The Big Ten to me is the joke conference with the way they need to restructure their divisions.
Yeah,
they're doing it next year.
Well, I hope so, because there's no reason for Penn State, Iowa State, and Michigan to all be in the same division, because that makes it's basically an easy win. It's whoever finishes in that division first. It's an easy win in the title game. I can't remember the last time that the West Division won anything. Like, it's just Iowa was terrible. Like, they barely got the ball past the 50.
Their offense is
atrocious. Offense is bad. Their defense is
good, but their offense is atrocious.
But if you can't score, you can't win.
Yeah,
I mean, your defense can be great, but if you can't score any points, then you ain't going to beat many people.
But then again, you're getting all the West schools. You're getting UCLA and USC and all those teams are playing in the Pac-12, not the Big Ten next year.
Well, that'll help it, but it's just weird to me that like they never decided to fix that. I would want to split like Michigan and Ohio State. Like let's put them two in that because it kind of makes a de facto playoff game. So they could have met again and played. I don't know. I just don't like the way that's.
Well, that SEC championship was a de facto playoff game. It got Bama in and knocked Georgia out. And
but
for Georgia to only lose by 3 points, and that's your only loss all year. In the past 3 years, that's your only loss by 3 points, and you don't get a chance to play for a championship either. Like I'm glad it's going to 12 teams. Now, next year, the team 13 and 14, they'll be pissed off that they didn't get in. But 12 teams is plenty.
Well, number 12 won't get in because the one gets the power. Was it the lesser five? What do they call them? The other 5 conferences, they're higher ranked team. Yeah. So like Liberty this year would have been number 12. They were showing me the playoff would end up, and they would get the 12 spot. OU was 12, and they would have been left out.
No. Well, they didn't play for a conference championship.
They also showed the top like 12 or 13, whatever teams. And with the new alignment, they were basically all SEC and all Big 10. Every single one of them.
I think I do, to wrap things up, I do agree. I think the committee got it right. I don't think, personally, as a fan, I don't want to see Florida State they'll probably have their second string back at that point, but I don't want to see Florida State with a backup quarterback playing against Michigan or somebody like that. Like, I don't want to see that. I would rather look at the storyline. You got Michigan and Bama, the greatest college football coach of all time, Nick Saban, going up against Jim Harbaugh, who is a great coach, but has all these off the field stuff going on. That's one matchup. And then on the other side, Texas and Washington, 2 schools that, Washington's been in the playoff. Texas has never been in the playoff before.
Well, they played last year in a bowl game.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I think they got it right with the 4 teams, but they were in an impossible situation. They were going to, if it wasn't Florida State, it'd be Texas fans that are mad or Bama fans that are mad. Somebody was going to be mad, but that's the issue when you only put 4 teams in. So,
boy, if you made Texas mad, you'd have just canceled the whole playoffs. that is the last, because you make Texas mad. Like, we're in.
I'll say it as one last thing that I think is, look where Texas is playing their game. It's going to be, they're the 3rd seed, but it's going to be de facto home crowd.
Oh yeah,
they're playing this in the Superdome in New Orleans. And where's the championship played this year? Houston.
I think we get a Texas-Alabama rematch for a national championship.
That's what I was thinking too. How fitting would that be?
But it's kind of played out really well for the Horns because of where they ended up getting. Even with being the 3rd seed, they're getting a nice path, like as far as location, to both games. If they can, so they have to win the first one, but
unfortunately, we have to wait about a month before any of this action takes place.
Well, next year they'll start playing earlier, so that'll be the nice thing. Yeah. So, anyway, all right. Well, that's our added segment on tonight's show. Hope you enjoyed the little college playoff talk. For Corey and Kyle, I'm Brett. We'll catch you next time on the Power Plus Mouthguard Beast from the East. Hopefully, we're back next week talking about 5 teams making it to the state game from East Texas. Y'all have a great day. And
go East Texas.
Make sure you check us out tonight. We're going to be talking last week's games. A lot to talk about tonight. So don't miss it. Weekly wrap-up show tonight, 8:30 p.m. See you, everybody.
Truly, before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously, a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit